Hey guys, welcome back to the Mindset Masters mini-series part 2. I hope you got to watch and enjoy the first video that I sent out about 4 days ago. And before I start diving in, I just want to say thank you for taking the time to send me your comments, your feedbacks, especially the ones where you reached out per email. Since this is, since I'm pre-recording these and I'm not in a live call with you, I really appreciate you reaching out and telling me your aha moments, your light bulb moments, how it's been helping you, or just simply what's been going on while you start doing this work. And of course, I want to hear your questions, because that way I can weave the answers into these trainings, into these next videos, and make sure that I help you in the best possible way. So thank you for doing that, and keep doing that. This video is of course embedded into my blog, and if you scroll all the way down to the bottom of the page, unfortunately it's not possible to do that any differently right now. That's where you find a comment box, so you can also use that. But either way is fine. I know a lot of you reach out via Instagram or via email, and that's absolutely fine. I love all of them. So before we dive into part 2, I thought it was important to recap what we've done in video 1, just to catch you up a little bit in case you missed it, or because there's so much information, it just, sometimes it gets lost. And also to point out, why do I find this work so important? Let it be one-on-one coaching, let it be in the group coachings, the 6-week masters training, or the free stuff. These trainings, I mean, I know we go incredibly deep, even in the free trainings, the master classes, or even if you use the transits. I believe this work is so important because I still run into so many people who believe that change is not possible. It's not even on their radar that anything else could be possible for them. They have adopted a belief that life is just as it is. I am as I am. People are as people are. And change, things will never change. And I can tell you now that is a lie. We have to put a bit of work in, but change is not only possible, it can be much easier than you think. And I'm not saying that lightly, but I've had so much feedback. I've seen so many people move from being stuck into flow again, from being fearful into a place of confidence, of not being able to set boundaries or standing up for themselves, to stand up straight and loving how they feel about themselves. I've seen people suddenly accepting work opportunities. I've seen people change their lives around completely, and that shows in a different relationship with themselves. It shows up in different relationships at home, in their families, in their love relationships, in their relationship with money. And as I always say, the moment we change our inside, the outside can change along with it. This is what I meant in video number 1. We change the dial, we open the filter, and suddenly something that we never even perceived being there is suddenly part of our life. But we have to look at our program. So in part 1, we looked at how our subconscious mind can be kind of compared to an operating system of a computer. And that tells us that we are programmed, we are conditioned over the early years of our lives to believe certain things about ourselves. And these programs are incredibly important because they keep us safe. They make sure we survive. They show us how the world works, how our society works, how our family works. They show us what we can and cannot do. And yes, when we grow up, we're 3, 5, 7, 9 years old. Those programs are very important because otherwise we couldn't really survive in the surroundings that we live in. However, we pick up programs about what we deserve, how worthy we are, how much money we deserve, how much love we deserve. And some of these programs might be incredibly good for us and might be very supportive, and some probably aren't. And then I touched on that, most of the programs are good. I told you that most of the programs are good because otherwise you would be falling off the chair, because we need to learn how we have to function in this world, how to eat, how to drink, how to rest, how to behave. However, we learn all the other stuff. And even though most programs are good, some programs are just outdated. And I see you becoming happier, you accepting more abundance in your life. And I'm not just talking money, I'm talking about love. I'm talking about the abundance of joy, of happiness, of connection, of expansion, and yes, of financial abundance as well. But that's just usually a reflection of worthiness and the stuff that we allow ourselves anyway. So when we reach that point and people understand that they are programmed and that they're being conditioned, of course, the first question that usually arises is, so what is my program? What are my, what is my conditioning? What are my programs? What am I running that I don't see? And when I ask that question, so how can you find out what your programs really are? And I ask that in a room full of people. Usually they say, well, I can ask my friends. True. I can see what triggers me. I can watch my fears. It's interesting that usually people go on the negative stuff instantly. And although all of these are very true, it's much simpler. It's as simple as finding out what your programs and your beliefs really are. It's as simple as look around you. Look around you, because I believe your life is an exact replica of your belief system. Because, as we've learned before, we only let in what fits our existing belief system. So look around you and see what your life really is. And this is where you find some areas of my life I'm doing so well. Health is never an issue for me. Money might be, or money is never an issue for me, but love might be. Or in relationships, I'm always treated a certain way. Or in my work, I'm always treated a certain way. So start reflecting back and see what areas of your life are running smoothly and what areas of your life you feel you might be hitting the same pattern. Because, and that might be a big ouch for a lot of us, I know it always was for me, if the same things keep happening to me, I know that that's just reflecting a pattern that I'm running. If I'm being treated in the same way over and over again, I know that that's a pattern that I'm running, and that, let's say, life is just trying to show me that I can now change that and update that. So before I go any deeper, I want you to go deeper, and I want to start off by asking you a few questions. So please get yourself a pen of paper. Yes, this is the first audience participation part. I'm going to ask you a question, then just stop the recording, start writing for 2-3 minutes, start the recording again, and then I'll go on. Deal? Okay. Question number 1 is, what are you expecting? What are you hoping to get out of this mini-series? This work can be very deep. What are you hoping to take away from this mini-series? Just press pause. Awesome. So I hope you're doing this. I hope you're taking this time, and I hope you're not just saying, well, I'm just going to watch this and I'll do it later, because that's a pattern. Chances are that's how we always do things. So please take the time, pause, go back, and just write it down. You're going to give yourself a massive gift. If you're just watching it, you might take a lot of stuff away, but if you're spending the time anyway, go deep. Question number 2. What challenges, what hurdles, what blocks are you experiencing in your life right now? So where do you keep running into the same wall? Where do you feel stuck, or you feel you're holding yourself back? What challenges, what hurdles, what blocks are you experiencing in your life right now? And press pause. Great. Question number 3. Is there something in your life that you know longer want? Is there something in your life that you do not longer want in your life? And pause. Welcome back. Question number 4. Is there something not in your life that you do want? Question number 4 is there something not in your life that you do want? And hit pause again. Awesome. Question number 5. This is important. If we could release, delete, let go of these blockages, these hurdles, these stucky moments, if you could release those blockages, how would your life change? Take some time for that one. If we could release those blockages that you just described before, how would your life change? And pause. And welcome back. And the last question is one of my favorite questions of all times. If we had a magic wand, or if I had a magic wand and grant you 3 wishes, what would you wish will have changed after you worked through this mini series? If we had a magic wand, what do you wish would have changed or will have changed by the end of this mini series? And take your time, and you might want to write down 3 different things and order them in your priority. And hit pause. So how was that for you? I know the biggest challenge with our beliefs, our programmings, our conditionings is becoming aware of them, is becoming aware, and then accepting that we have them. These programs, these beliefs that we are stuck in, or that you are stuck in, are not your fault, but they can be your responsibility to change them now if you wish to do so. For me, that was mind-blowing. Your beliefs, what has happened to you, is not your fault. But I think you actually said it is your responsibility to clean it up if you want to change. And that's all it is. And that's why change is possible. We just have to look at, okay, this is apparently a program I'm running. I'm doing it subconsciously. It's not my fault, but I do want to change it. It's going to be maybe not that comfortable. But the moment we get the hang of it, it becomes fun looking at it. Why do I say becoming aware of it and accepting it? I often do like an association exercise just so people access more of their automatic responses, their subconscious beliefs. And it's, a classic association exercise like, I start a sentence and you finish it with 1, 2, 3 words, as in a tree is, and you write down green or dead or lush or growing, whatever your first association is. And we're going very, very quickly. And it's nature is, my body is, my family is, money is, people are, successful people are, and all these different questions. And in my very first workshop that I ever taught back in London, I did this workshop, I did this exercise, and there was this one guy who was sitting there. I mean, he was there for like 8 hours, and for the first 5 hours, he was just sitting there like not having any of it. It was just very obvious that I was just not his type of guy. And he was actually the one who signed in. He was there with his wife. And then we did this exercise. And after the exercise, I asked, does anyone have any questions or comments on this? And he raised his hands and he said, yes. So according to this exercise, I believe that all successful people are liars. And I said, how does this feel? Does this resonate with you? And he said, yeah, it kind of does. And I said, well, first of all, you probably have a problem with me standing here telling you what to do. And he said, yeah, I do. I said, well, that's obvious, by your body language. However, you are here in a workshop called Igniting Transformation. I was going for enlightening. No, it's Igniting Transformation. So this is a workshop that's designed to help you become more successful in your life, whatever success means to you. But by the nature of how I invited you and how this is set up, it's also a spiritual workshop. We're going deep, we're going into beliefs, and not religious beliefs, but your own beliefs. But of course, we're doing trances and meditations. And so, it tells me a lot about you. So because you're in a workshop called Igniting Transformation, I know you want to be successful. And he said, yes, I do. I said, by the nature of this workshop, because it has a spiritual background, I can tell that you most likely are a good man. You want to be a good person. He said, yes, it's one of my highest values. I want to be a good human being. I said, great. Now, you want to be successful, but your highest value is you want to be a good human being. Now, if you want to be successful and you want to be a good human being, but you're running a subconscious belief that says, in order to be all successful people are liars, which in essence means in order to be successful, I have to become a liar. I can tell you it's not going to happen to you, because the overriding value, I have to be a good person, is not going to allow you to become a liar, meaning you won't be successful. Because it won't allow you to be successful, because that reads in your system, you will be a liar, although that has nothing to do with the truth. And he went from here to here to here. And then he said, so what do I do now? And I said, well, the most important thing has happened. It's becoming aware that that's a belief you're holding, because now you can look for different evidence. So if you come across any of those patterns or beliefs, when you go, well, I believe that, I don't know, all men are pigs, or that money is bad and evil, or money will turn people into not very nice people, or whatever you find about yourselves, because very often we do know. I want you to look for the evidence why that isn't true, because it's very absolute. Those beliefs are usually very absolute. So a lot of successful people are liars. A lot of successful people are annoying. And you cannot believe how often that particular sentence causes a stir up in the groups. It does change if I look globally, but it's still, success still stirs up a lot of emotion for people. But start looking for the evidence that the opposite can also be true. Doesn't have to be absolute, but yes, some people are liars when they're successful, but there's also good people and who use their success for good stuff. So for me back then, I thought Richard Branson seemed to be a good guy, or Oprah is very successful, but she's using, her success comes out of helping people because she goes through all the different things that she was experiencing in her life, her hardship, and how she worked through that. So no, not all successful people are liars. Some successful people are liars. Some successful people are glorious, magnificent human beings who are using their success to help. And thus you open a door. You have now opened a door for success to become possible for you. So I want you to look at, where are the patterns? Where do you keep running? I want you to keep your book, your notebook open on your desk for the next 3-4 days until I come out with the next video, and just notice your patterns. Oh, I'm really good. I'm really good in communication. Or I'm really good in making people feel comfortable. I'm really good with money. I'm really good with building a business. I'm really good, whatever. And then also notice the other patterns. I'm doing both, so you don't go into like a black hole of, oh, everything is shit, pardon my French. But then also look at the patterns. Well, apparently I keep attracting always the same kind of guy or girl. Apparently I'm uh, never really coming out of debt. Apparently I don't know how to deal with money. Apparently I feel I'm not a businessman. This was always one of my, I'm an artist. I used to be a performer. So in my head, becoming a businessman was so far out that I never allowed myself to go there. I'm running a business. So of course I kind of am a businessman, but it clashed so much with my beliefs about being a free-spirited artist and bohemian and all of this. You want to have these on the table so you can change them. One exercise I want to give you that just happened out of a silly idea in my last relationship. And I said, I was working through learning about my programs. And while I was cooking one night, I said, could you help me find out what I believe about myself and when I negatively talk about myself? And of course, yeah, I'll do that. I said, whenever you hear me say something negative about myself, or that is not in alignment with my goals and where I want to go, can you just tell me and point this out? And can we find a word that's not like I feel told off or you put me down or anything like this? So we came up with the word shift, because shift for me is like the shift button on the computer, just telling me, oh, there's a thought that wasn't necessary or that's not supportive. I want to choose another thought. And this is just a game about awareness again. Do I really want to think this about myself? So I was cooking and I said, oh shit, I'm so stupid. I forgot to put the peppers into the sauce. They needed to be in there. You should have said shift because, I just called myself stupid. Oh yeah. Sorry. I'm not used to this yet. So no, that's fine. But, so we had dinner and then I walked past the mirror and I said, oh, I feel so fat. I've just gotten completely out of shape. I'm such a fat blob. You should have said shift because I just called myself fat and ugly. Oh yeah, sorry. I have to get used to this. So just give me some time. Long story short, because I gave someone else permission to point it out to me, I suddenly clocked myself, because this has caught on in my circle of friends and everybody started doing the shift game. And because I knew suddenly everybody was watching what I was saying, I started watching it myself. And I could choose a different thought. First of all, I could choose a different sentence. And then I could choose a different thought. Did they feel like lies? Yes, 100%. But as we've learned before, these statements, these things that we tell, that we tell ourselves, that these patterns that we keep ourselves in are programs. And what does that mean? We have rehearsed them. I think it was Esther Hicks. She said, a belief is only a thought that we thought over and over again. So what happens in our brains, if we keep thinking a thought over and over again, the brain looks, the brain watches what's going on. And if we have a thought that we think twice, 3, 4, 6, 20 times a day, it goes, oh, this thought is being thought so many times. Let's not go through the effort of always thinking it. Let's make it automatic. So the brain starts building synapses, and it basically builds neurologic pathways, so that a thought, it kind of just cuts a new pathway through the jungle so that that thought can go automatic. And that's a brilliant thing to do. It's something, it's like a miracle of nature. Best example is always when you drive a car. I don't know, if you drive a car and you remember learning how to drive a car, I just need to check. I thought I wasn't recording this. When you learn how to drive a car, I remember the first time I sat in there, you don't know, you turn on the car, you're more hopping the car, then you want to put the indicator light on and you turn the windscreen wiper on, then you stop the car again, and it's one of the most stressful moments I remember in my life. Hopping the car is what I called it. And then you have your lessons, you practice, you get your license, you drive for 6 weeks, and all of a sudden you don't have to think when to shift the next gear because your body feels it. You don't have to think which hand you use to indicate right or left, where to put on the windscreen wiper. And you drive, you don't think about it, shift the gear while reapplying your lipstick, while drinking a coffee and waving at the policeman at the same time. It's just kidding. Of course, you're not on your phone, you're not drinking, you're applying your makeup while you're driving. But be friendly to your policeman. The thing is, your brain has made all of these moves, all of these actions and reactions automatic. I mean, how often have you driven home at night and you can't even remember half the way? This is brilliant. So your brain builds synapses, makes thoughts automatic because you rehearse them. No matter if you consciously choose to rehearse them or not. Because at some point you just drive. So it kind of just, we have all these things we do half in trance. And this is what I meant in part one when I said 95% of our habits, of our decisions are made subconsciously. They're made before we start thinking. What's the solution to this? Why is change easy? We have to become aware of what we want. We have to become aware of the program that we're running. You already started looking at that. And then we have to pre-frame something new that we do want, as in, okay, if I don't want that program anymore, if I want to attract a different kind of situation, a different kind of person into my life, how would that look? Let's stick with the example of maybe a new lover, a new man, a new woman, and we go, well, actually, I want someone on eye level, someone who inspires me, someone that I inspire, someone that fulfills me sexually, where I feel safe, where I can trust. And while you write out your goals, which might be part of your magic wand, by the way, while you write out those goals, notice the feedback in your body. Notice the echo you're getting. Oh, don't be silly. You're never going to find someone like that. Who do you think you are? This is just, as I call them, the monkey on your shoulder that's telling you to stay where you are. And I'm saying this again, and I will say it many times, not because that's good for you. It's just because you're already existing belief system. Stay where you're comfortable because that's where you're safe. Just notice the thoughts that are coming up. You're in this class because you want change. And now start practicing the new thought. How do I practice the new thought? First of all, you can, of course, repeat it. This is the classic affirmation that many people know. A classic affirmation would be just reaffirming a statement. I am healthy on all levels, is a very, very common, very good, very supportive affirmation. However, if it's too far out of your belief system, it very often doesn't work. And I like to use a tool that makes using the affirmation a little bit easier and makes use of my brain getting in there quicker and makes it more possible. And that is turning this into a power question. So if I now create a new situation in my mind, a new goal, I don't really believe that's possible. Very often these feel like lies. Make no mistake, they will feel like lies. But you haven't rehearsed them yet. That's why they feel like lies. Now play with that new thought. A sentence I love is, what if that would be possible? It's a good question. And then turn it into a power question. The power question is, why do I suddenly deserve to attract a person on eye level that inspires me, that I inspire, that fulfills me sexually, and that I fulfill sexually, where I feel safe and seen, and whatever is important to you. Why do I suddenly deserve? Why is it suddenly so easy for me to get a promotion? Why, if you're not feeling well physically, why is it so easy for me to get healthy? It's always the why is, and then put an easy in there or suddenly in there, because it puts your brain into under the pressure, let's put it that way, to find the real answers for this. Now, your brain is a very loyal servant. It will always give you the answer. It will always give you the answer to the questions that you're asking. And if I ask, why do I always attract such asses? Why do I always fail at money? Why do people hate me? I will get the answers. Your brain will give you the answers. Will that make you feel good? No. Will it be helpful? To a certain extent, yes, because it will give you the patterns. However, it will not give you solutions. Turning the question around, and this might feel weird at first, yes, to why is it so easy for me to deal with money? Why am I suddenly such a good business person? Why do I attract the right people into my life? Why is it easy for me to change? What an awesome power question. Why is it easy for me to change? Put that on your whiteboard, put it on your table, put it on your phone, put it on your mirror. Why is it easy for me to change? And then there's two ways to deal with it. Put it on a paper and just let it lying around on your table. And every time you pass it, ask the questions, ask it out loud, ask it silently, and your subconscious mind will work on it. If you want to go deeper, and this has come out of the 6 Weeks Masters, do it in writing and find the answers, because it will shift your focus to where you want to go. And we do know energy follows where focus goes. Yes, your energy will always follow where your focus is. Focus on what you want and not on the lack of. So do it in writing, and you write down, for instance, why is it so easy for me to, or why is it suddenly so easy for me to change? And then maybe there's silence first, but maybe you will come out with some answers. Maybe you will find, because in other areas of my life, I've changed before. Because I'm willing to change. Because I'm willing to pay the price. Because I deserve to change. Because I feel that something else is possible for me. Why is it suddenly so easy for me to change? Because I now know that's just a program, and now I'm not a victim of it. Because other people have changed. You see what's happening. You give yourself steps to change, and you give yourself the evidence and the reasons to change. Now, if you want to take it one more step, you want to write a script of the new life you want to live. Now, the life I'm living today, I scripted out and I read it out loud every day. And then I scripted out conversations when I was still doing one-on-one sessions, and people would book single sessions while I was living in London for £55 and later on for £105. But it wasn't really a business, and I wasn't really sure how I could help and who I was helping the most. And then my mentor made me script conversations so I could feel comfortable in them. And I was holding conversations, I kid you not. I was practicing conversations, not holding real life conversations, with a teddy bear, with a playing card, with a picture on my screen. And I recorded those. And I was practicing conversations with Meryl Streep, Elton John, Cristiano Ronaldo, Madonna. So, there were, these were the big names, some athletes, some actors. And the interesting thing was, a few months later, I think it was like 4 or 5 months later, I was going to a talk of Edgar, what's his name? Tolle, Eckhart Tolle. And I was meeting with a friend, and she brought her boyfriend, and he was an actor, and we started talking, and I ended up having the exact conversation, and I wasn't leading it. It wasn't manipulated. It was just practiced, that I felt at home in that new identity that I wanted. And it turned out after about 10 minutes that he said, I'm looking for a coach. How does this work? And so we had a deeper conversation and we started working. And this was the very first premium client that I was doing back then. It was practiced. If I wouldn't have done that, it wouldn't have happened. Now, I know that this sounds very far out there and very woohoo, and you don't have to take it all that far if you just want to change a little bit. But I want to tell you what's possible, because I know I've watched so many friends and people around me who want to change, but they're clinging to their story of not being worthy, of not deserving it, of everybody treating them like shit, and they're clinging onto their story that they cannot change. And that's why they can't. And that's the bit you need to change. Start telling a different story. So today we looked into how the programming happens, how we rehearse and created synapses in our brains. You asked yourself 5 very strong questions of where you're holding yourself back and what you want to change and what you want to get out of this course or out of your life. We looked at, this will have hopefully given you a lot of insights. We looked at how you can see in your surroundings what your patterns might be. Ask your closest friend, maybe not your spouse, depending on the relationship you have, to play the shift game. Please point out to me lovingly, this needs to be lovingly, please point out to me when you feel I'm saying things that are not good for me or for my goals. But also then you have to be ready and able to go, okay, let me rephrase this. The sentence I use is, thanks for sharing. I'm saying this to myself. Thanks for sharing, shift, delete. This is just, okay, this is a thought I'm now becoming aware of. I delete this, I'm choosing a new thought, and then practice the new thought. So you've got to be ready when you play the shift game to then reflect and change it. And then when you know where your new goals are, write down power questions. Ask yourself the power question. Why is it suddenly so easy for me to change? Would be one of them. Answer them in writing. And if you really want to go full out, write out a script of how you want to live your life in, let's say, 6 months, and read it out at least once or twice a day. Practice who you are. Practice saying things out loud. You know, when I have my own company, you know, when I am financially free, you know, when I finally meet the man of my dreams, the woman of my dreams, you know, when I'm back in my health, you know, when I'm full of strength and health and full in my juices, is what I always say in German. Tell these stories, even though you might not, or most likely you're not feeling like that just now. Tell a different story because you're feeling the way you're feeling right now, because that's most likely a pattern you have rehearsed unconsciously. You haven't chosen it, but you have rehearsed it, and that's where you're living it today. I hope this has been helpful. So a big part of changing is, of course, letting go of the past. And that is a biggie, I'm not going to lie, but it's joyful. Once you realize how easy letting go of the past can be and what it actually does to you, and how easy, shall I choose the big word already today, forgiveness can be, because it's about you, it's self-care, it's never about the other person, you will change like this. You will shift your energy, your vibration in no time. And that is something I speak from personal experience, and I've seen the shifts in my clients and in my participants over and over again. This is something we go into part 3, letting go of the past so you can feel lighter and lighter and lighter. Just watch the inner dialogues that is happening right now, because that will point you towards the situations and the people and the things that you might be resenting or holding some anger towards. Just notice them, don't judge it, put it down, and we get into this in the next video. I hope you enjoyed this. Please put your comments down in the box, send me your emails, your feedback. I love it when you reach out on social media. I'm very active on Instagram, Facebook, not so much. And I'm looking forward to hearing from you. And I hope you have a beautiful evening or day at whatever time you're watching this.